Hello and welcome to the Supernatural Track here at Continual. I'm your host, Gail Z. Martin, and tonight we are talking about dangling plot threads. What are the interesting possibilities that were raised and then never followed up on? Supernatural had 15 years, 327 episodes. Sometimes there were things that just came up in an episode and were never revisited again. And so what intrigued you and what would you wish that they had come back to? Of course, we have fan fiction for a lot of that, but in canon, what would have been fun to see or interesting to see them come back to? But before we start, let's let our wonderful panelists introduce themselves, and we'll start with Lola.
My name's Lola Lariscy. I'm a writer, and I've been watching Supernatural since the very beginning, 200 years ago.
Melissa?
Hi, I'm Melissa, and I've been a fan like Lola since the night the pilot aired. Kitty has only been a fan since 2020.
Okay. And Ariel?
I'm Ariel Dawn, also a writer. Primarily write supernatural, paranormal, romancy type stuff, but I write a little bit of everything. That kind of falls in the vein of Supernatural, and I've been following Supernatural since also the pilot episode.
Okay, Carole?
Hi, I'm Carole Stokes. I've been a fan of Supernatural since season 3, started writing fanfic in 2012, and in 2023, I began publishing romance under the name Ellis Colton.
Okay. I'm Gail Z. Martin and Morgan Bryce. As Gail, I write epic and urban fantasy. As Morgan, I write urban fantasy, male paranormal romance. But all my modern day worlds are ones Sam and Dean could walk into and feel right at home. I'm a latecomer, apparently. I fell in love with the show halfway through season 11, binged 11 seasons before the start of season 12, and fell down the rabbit hole and have never hit the ground since then. So we're going to go around and I'm just going to ask, we'll keep coming back to, and what else? So give us a dangling plot thread or plot hole, or gee, I wish they'd have come back to that. Keep it fairly short and we'll just keep going around and around till we run out of time. Lola?
All right, so I did some digging, and I know
Oh, we lost your
and I may have at least one that's the same. I'm going to try to start with whatever ones that we both didn't look at, or that she didn't look at, but I looked at. So I'm going to start with the other 3 horsemen of the apocalypse. So we know all about death. Death died, but he was replaced by other deaths. So what's going on with pestilence, magdamagdaments, war, famine? So they didn't have their rings anymore. And so one side I read said they disintegrated. But then another site said, no, they didn't disintegrate. They just lost their powers. So where are they? Are they just wandering around? And why didn't they get replaced by someone else like Death did?
Okay, Melissa?
We still, oh, and one more thing. We still have war and death and pestilence and all of that. So they're not gone. Okay, you can go on.
Okay.
Okay, so probably my second biggest plot hole is Benny. And don't get me wrong, I'm a Sam and Dean girl, but yes, Benny has a deep and special place in my heart. What happened with Benny? We see the fight, but we don't actually know what happened to Benny, and that breaks my heart because I love me some Benny. And I was really annoyed that they didn't. I'm glad they didn't kill him, so they left the door open for season 16 when they reboot. But not happy that we don't actually know.
Nobody cares.
I thought Benny got his head chopped off. I thought Benny got his head chopped off to get Sam back from.
Right, but he went to purgatory. So he was alive.
Oh, so he's back in purgatory, but we don't know what happened to him after that.
And when he gets Sam to the gateway, whatever it is, and there's all the monsters, and Benny turns back to face I think they were vamps, I don't even remember at this point, so that Sam can get out, but we see him like entering the fray, but we don't actually know what happened.
Gotcha. I forgot that part.
Okay.
That's okay.
Ariel?
I think kind of jumping on that with Benny, I'm gonna have to go with Garth too, because I feel like Garth kind of like faded into the nothingness, and I just like want to know what I love Garth, and I mean, aren't they together in real life too? I think so. It just kind of
Yes.
like it just kind of like jumbled my brain where I was like, oh my God, Garth, what happened to him? Where did he go? Like what? Like I would love to have seen him come back for something, or even just like a mention off screen, maybe not like, just like, oh, we passed him at the, at the bar or whatever, something.
Still a
But yeah.
dentist.
Hmm?
Well, we do see him in the hero's journey, or
Yes.
whatever that episode was. So
Yeah.
we kind of know that he's settled down with Beth. Is that her name?
I
Anybody
think
remember?
But isn't that before Michael enlists him, or forces him to be in his army, and then he's
No, this is
my
this is
timeline.
after. Yeah, this is season 15 where they lose their luck
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
they end up at Garth's. That was, I think that was after the whole Michael thing.
Okay.
But I could be wrong because
Yeah.
that was like, many sleeps ago.
Okay.
Well, clearly I am no help on any of this. So.
Well, I think too, when you have a show like this that's been on for like, that went on for so long, and you have so many of those like intricate storylines and things like that, sometimes it is where you're like, oh wait a minute, that happened here. Oh wait, that was this season. So like I completely understand.
Mixed up. And then sometimes they're actually angels, sometimes they're actually demons.
Mm-hmm.
Boing.
Carol?
Did Ariel get to? Oh, yeah, because you did.
It's okay.
I was rushing to get here because I was watching a movie with my chillins, and I was like, oh, panel. Well, guys, I'm going to go with the big one that we always all wonder about, and I'm surprised that nobody said. And so thanks for leaving it for me, Jessie.
Yes.
Jessie.
I was thinking about that too.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah.
they had this great character. I mean, a really interesting little boy, and that was before we knew, that he had all these powers.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's got all these powers. He's the child of a demon and a human, so he's kind of like the antithesis to Jack when we meet Jack later. He's mega powerful. Everybody's afraid of him, and he's like, I'm out of here because everybody wanted him and everybody wanted to use him. And really, including the Winchesters. I mean, they would have been kinder, gentler. But nonetheless, they had an agenda as well. And Jesse's like, I'm having none of it, and blinked himself away, presumably to Australia, I think is the travel post to see.
Which is apparently so far away that even an omnipotent being is never seen again there.
Right. And it's like, what happened to him? Where is he? Why didn't he come back when we had all these other things happen in like the final season and stuff, and they were pulling out all the stops and trying to find everybody who could give them an edge and help them. And yeah, they had so many places where they could have, brought him back. Oh, so we have Jack. Hey, so now let's bring back Jesse, who would have been a lot older. And then who knows? He and Jack could have been buds,
Right? Like that was
world.
definitely like a missed opportunity there, like with the whole Jack thing.
Huge.
Yeah.
So yes, I think probably just about the single biggest one that people will mention is Jesse, and what an opportunity missed.
Okay. I'm going to go for Obscure Monsters 101. Or what was it on Jeopardy for $10? And that is with the Shadim. They were a previously unknown type of supernatural being that were deemed too dangerous and suddenly and trapped in an inaccessible section of hell. Now, it's interesting that when you look it up in the source of all knowledge, the Super Wiki, says that they come from Jewish mythology, and it's a word that means spirits or demons. And they are said to have the feet and claws of a rooster and wings like an angel. And another post says that they're similar to the jinns in Islam. So definitely pulling on Middle Eastern mythology. But I thought that they had a lot of potential as being bad people or something new to kind of. The great thing about throwing in a new type of monster is that we don't feel like we've seen them a million times. And so I'm up for any kind of interesting monster that we can, use more than once. And they only showed up in one episode, so I wanted to learn more about them. Okay, we have just shuffled the Hollywood Squares board, so I'm going to start with Melissa.
Cool. This isn't so much a where did this character go, but this is a plot hole that has driven me crazy for 5 years. In the finale, we see the boys using dead man's blood against the vampires. It doesn't kill them, but it certainly puts them out of action for a period of time. They found out where the nest was from that vampire using the dead man's blood. They knew they were going to go fight vampires. Why didn't they have dead man's blood with them? And why didn't they have bullets coated in dead man's blood before they went for that last hunt? That was we see them use it. That's Chekhov's gun. It's Chekhov's gun to me. We see them use it. There's no reason for us to see them use it. They don't use it in the barn, and it's not that I didn't want Dean to die, because I have long since accepted that was the way that the show needed to end. So my complaint isn't that. My complaint is that why did we see it as a tool and then they didn't use it a short time later? Then there was like a throwaway line of, should we go get some dead man's blood, cook some bullets, whatever? And the other would say, no, because there's kids missing. We don't have time. We're all out. Like a throwaway line would have been fine. But they didn't do it. And it is really sloppy writing. And it drives me insane.
Okay. Ariel?
So one of the ones that first came and popped up to my mind when I had heard the topic and was thinking about all the things that kind of got left unsaid was the Steins. That whole like subset there with that plot line, and I felt like at some point they were supposed to do something more with them, where they were supposed to be like bigger characters, or there was supposed to be a spin-off or something. I think it was talked about like for a minute, and I just felt like we kind of never really got to see like where that went. It was like they were kind of like, and I feel like there's like a lot of that obviously too. It's like just in general when you have a show like Supernatural and you have all these different things that you're trying out, different tactics and stuff. And so some people obviously stay and some people obviously don't. But I just felt like they put a lot of emphasis on it, but then it just kind of like blew past.
Okay. And Carole?
This is definitely a missing character where we see him and then he's gone, and that's Adam.
Yeah, I was thinking him too.
I had him on my list too.
Poor dude.
And poor Adam, we actually never see the real Adam, because the episode that he's in, it turns out really he was a ghoul. So that wasn't even the real Adam. But poor Adam, well, I guess we see him in the beautiful room. But he gets stuck there, because if Dean's going to save Sam, or he's going to save Adam, well, that's a no-brainer. Sorry, Adam. But they were trying to get him out. They genuinely were trying to get him out, but he got stuck, and he's gone, and he's in the cage, and never see him again.
Disposable Winchester.
Yeah, and I feel bad for the guy.
And there was just a small bit of backstory there for, obviously, because he was the disposable Winchester, but there was like that tiny bit of backstory that we never really got there either, and it never kind of got really explained, in all the iterations of of their father. So like
Right.
it never
And-
came up.
And if Michael gets out of the cage, why doesn't Adam get out of the cage? Did he just like go scampering off somewhere? Because he's like, hallelujah, I'm free. I'm free.
Right?
The funniest thing is, I don't know if you guys have seen the parodies by the Hillywood sisters.
Oh,
I
The-
love, yes.
And there's Adam in his cage, and someone gives him the Monopoly card, get out of jail free. So yeah, poor Adam. And again, he's even blood related. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not even like he's
brother.
blood related. He's a son of John, direct line. And so long,
They
sorry.
should during the last episode, they should have had John come around the corner and go, "Has anyone seen Adam?" And then Dean and Sam would be like, "Nope. What are you talking
I
about?"
feel like in a
even up in
parallel
heaven.
universe, that was a storyline.
Yeah. I mean, even up in heaven, it's like, okay, well, Rufus is over there, and Ellen's over there, and your parents are over there, but where's Adam? Is he still down in hell?
Well,
Poor
I
Adam.
mean, John taught him to play baseball, and John actually interacted with Adam like a father. So
Mhm.
my headcanon is always that they subconsciously just didn't care because he wasn't.
Well,
he had all the
yeah.
he had all the stuff that they didn't have, so they didn't really like whatever.
Well, we saw
Still
Dean
suffer in the
struggling.
cage.
We saw Dean really struggling with that. Like, what?
Yeah.
To a baseball game? What? He gets here for your birthday? But Sam was just, I think, kind of like, certainly he enjoyed not being the youngest anymore, but we saw him like encouraging him, teaching him how to shoot and stuff. So but not, he wasn't concerned enough that, when they were down in hell, they never went looking for him, and they were in hell a lot, and they never went looking for him. So anyway, there you go. Dangling thread and possible plot hole. Where's Adam?
Okay. Lola.
All right, so I had to leave for a few seconds because I lost sound. So I don't know if anyone said some of the stuff that I have on my list. So I was thinking about, so Lisa, we remember at the end, she got mind wiped. But I think about like it's gonna be really awkward when she goes back to her sis. I think she had a sister. She goes back to her friends and everything. They're like, "Yo, where's Dean?" And or was it Sam? I've already forgotten.
Dean.
It was
Dean,
Dean, yeah.
it's Dean.
They're like, "Where's Dean?" And she's like, "Who?" And they're
Mhm.
like, "You need to go see a doctor now." So she's probably in an institution still to this day saying, "I don't know about any Dean. There was no Dean." And they're like, "Well, what about the dead boyfriend in your living room?" "I don't know." So poor Lisa.
That's a good point, because mind wiping her, they didn't say that they did the same to Ben
Mhm.
Yeah.
and the neighbors.
Mhm.
And if Dean lived there for a year, it's one thing to say, I don't want to talk about him. It's another thing to like pretend he
Like, who are you
never
talking
existed. You have
about?
no idea. So
I
yeah,
have no idea what you're talking about.
I think Ben was in the hospital room when they did Lisa.
okay.
So that at least the two of them both were together, because
Well, they
that's
got a
where Ben
2 for
even
1.
looks at him when Dean comes in, and he looks at him and he's like, who the F are you?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go with Aaron Bass and his golem. We only saw them in a couple of episodes, and I absolutely love that actor. I follow him on Facebook. He is hysterically funny with this very deadpan presentation.
Mhm.
Now we know that they wiped out the German necromancers, the Thule, but Aaron was the legacy to kind of begin or continue the Judah initiative, which were the Jewish mages, and he had this golem. What happened to him? What's he off doing? It's kind of hard to hide a golem that's that big. So
Building the fort.
did they retire to the islands? I don't know, but I would have loved to have seen more of them, because I just think that actor is absolutely hysterical, and he could have been very useful. Certainly, the Golem could have been very useful in many things. So that's another one where, hey, this could have been a really neat ally, and I think he only showed up in like 2 episodes. Back to you, Melissa.
Okay, so I commented on the finale. Now I'm going to take a plot hole from the pilot. The woman in white only attacked men who were unfaithful. She attacked Sam. Who was Sam unfaithful with? I'm just going to throw that out there and not comment and just say that was a big old plot hole that there's been a lot of speculation and fanfic.
He cheated on Dean with college. He left Dean to go to college, so college is the other person. Yeah,
Okay.
that's all I can think of.
Or someone he met at college.
Maybe.
But he was with
What's her name?
Ceiling Girl.
Feeling
Right,
girl, Jessica? Was it Jessica?
Jessica.
Jessica. Yeah.
I was like, what's her name?
Oh my God, did you forget who Jessica was?
Completely blank.
I had to go back a little bit. I was like, rewind.
Completely
For a
blank.
rewatch.
Completely
for a
blank.
rewatch.
Yeah,
young
really,
lady.
seriously. I haven't seen the pilot in probably a year. But yeah, like Southern Fried Crispy was like he didn't have time from the time that he left soon to be Southern Fried Crispy, to the woman in white, the car. We don't see him meeting anybody. We don't, and so I'm gonna leave that for y'all to talk about.
Yeah. Well, and you know, you can take a broad view of unfaithful in terms of being unfaithful to his family, to
the
his
hunter, yeah.
brother, to you know, to his bond with Dean. There are a lot of different
He
ways.
cheated on his midterms.
He cheated on his midterms.
Maybe he did.
Maybe he did. Yeah. Ariel.
We're kind of going along the line here. I'm surprised nobody's mentioned it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but original Michael, not later Michael, because we saw alternate Michael, you know, later, but we never like really kind of got like any iteration or any explanation for like original Michael. So that's kind of just like loose and up in the air.
Yeah, I never knew what happened to him either. I put that
Mhm.
on my list.
Yeah.
And I even I went to one of the wikis and they would talk about Michael, but then they start talking about AU Mike. And I'm like, I don't
Right.
care about AU Mike. What happened to original Michael?
Right. What happened to original Michael? Yeah.
Nobody ever says. Just
Carole.
Wandering the
Hey, I
earth.
remembered to unmute first. So we were talking about Adam in hell, and like they never looked for him, even though they were in hell numerous times. And so in the earlier seasons, going to hell was like a big deal. Like you couldn't get in. You couldn't just say, "Ah, I'm going to hell."
Like, oh my God.
But it was like a big oh good, I got Melissa. I have to get Melissa once every panel that we're on together. But it was a big deal and you had to do all this stuff and whatever. And in the last few seasons, it was like, yeah, we're just going in, we're going out. Yeah, we're walking down these steps. Look, we're in hell. It was very casual, you know, like you didn't even have to say Beetlejuice 3 times or anything. Here I am.
Just Crowley, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So like, but what's the deal, man?
Okay. Lola.
Okay, so the alternate universe, it was at war. Angels and demons were at war. It was a hellscape. Then Chuck snapped his fingers and just obliterated all the other universes. But then I think Jack put them back. So are they still at war? Because the angels and the demons should have chilled out. Or are they just like everyone, all the humans are sitting around going, well, we got this obliterated world, but at least there are no demons or angels anymore. What's going on?
Did Jack restore all the alternate universes?
I
am asking that because I didn't like, I know he restored our universe. He put everybody back. Am I the only one who didn't make that connection? I'm not saying that Will was wrong. I just didn't make that leap.
I thought he did, but I could be wrong. I get mixed up.
It's I don't think it was clear, Lola, and but I think that that is a logical assumption since he put our world back, that he would have put the other worlds back. I just never looked at it that way. So that's an
look,
interesting
another dangling
interpretation.
plot thread.
Right? Seriously. That's a really interesting point. Thank you.
Yeah. So I've got a quick one and a longer one. One is Daphne, who is the woman who married Cass when he didn't remember he was an angel.
He was Emmanuel.
He was Emmanuel. So Dean pulls up, says, "Get in the car, let's go." Cass gets in the car, they go. Did anybody ever come back and mind wipe her like Lisa?
Oh my God, yeah, just be like, sorry,
Yes,
gotta take him.
Maybe when
Cass still
Adam
married
escaped
to
the
her?
cage, when Adam escaped the cage, he found her.
So,
They got married.
Adam and Daphne.
did she get an annulment? I mean,
Did you go looking for him? What? Like-
Deadbeat husband, I guess.
yeah, Cass, after he got his memory back, didn't even think to say, "Thank you for taking me in." I mean, that just seems, you could have solved the whole thing with a sentence.
Yeah.
Now, the one that's a little harder to solve is Kevin Tran.
This was on my list too.
Because
Yeah.
Kevin was in a lot of episodes. Unlike, some of the other people we've mentioned that only got in one or two, Kevin is in a lot of episodes. But I think it's interesting, and again, going back to the font of all knowledge, the Super Wiki, it says that after God releases all the souls of hell upon the earth, Kevin returns to help. But because he says he never got to go to heaven and was sent to hell, and that he couldn't enter heaven after having been cast into hell. So he wanders the earth as an untethered ghost. I mean, the Winchesters have a revolving door between heaven and hell.
Right.
Other than the fact that,
I'm sorry.
yes, they're the Winchesters, how come Kevin can't go to heaven? Because he's been to hell when Sam and Dean have both been multiple times.
Wasn't that just while the veil was like not working though?
Oh, good point.
I mean, because there was that whole thing about the veil was like nobody could pass through the veil, and so a lot of spirits were
stuck.
trapped.
He and his mother.
Now, of course, we never see the veil get fixed. Really, I don't think.
We don't see the resolution for
But
that.
presumably, once they fixed it, then he, like a balloon, he ascended.
Goes up. Well, I'm thinking
that's a good case of where we can figure out a possible solution to it, but come on, for all Kevin did for you, at least Bobby could have said, and Kevin's over there,
Or they could have just passed him or something,
Right.
Yeah.
I think he must be in heaven because they made the point that when Rowena went down to be Queen of Hell, she said that everyone had to earn their way to hell. Only people who deserved to be there were going to be there. And Jack supposedly fixed heaven so that it's not just compartments of you in your favorite place. So I would think that somewhere there, somebody grabbed Kevin and was like, "Oh, you got to go up there. Your mom's waiting." I would hope.
Okay. Melissa, I got around everybody, right? Back to Melissa.
Yep. Hunter Corp, Sam and Dean. I could have had another 5 seasons of those two, or the 4 of them. Like I really, really, really needed more of them other than them just walking out of the bunker. First of all, it's a great fish out of water story because they came from wealthy, right? Those guys were rich. They didn't bring their money with them through the
portal,
when they made the jump. So now they have to figure out how to work, how to survive. Carole, what's that? Is it
maybe they had money in the trunk of their Prius or whatever that was?
Oh, they're handsome. They're handsome. They'll be okay. They're modeling.
There's always OnlyFans.
I was gonna
they're OnlyFans. They're high-level escorts. Dean it could be a high-level escort.
Some more of those male modeling sons of bitches.
Oh yeah, they're Instagram stars now.
But it is interesting because think of all the crimes Sam and Dean have committed and how often they've been on you know, 10 Most Wanted or
That's
on some
true.
news report because, you know,
Mhm.
people think they've done these crimes, which of course they haven't. But then why didn't the Richesters, as I used to call, you
Yep.
know, as many of us
I
call
love
the
that.
Hunter
I like
Corp,
that.
Sam and Dean, why were the Richesters like never picked up? Or did they just get to Brazil fast enough that it didn't matter or something?
That's my headcanon, is that they got out of the country fast enough.
The cynic in me says because they're rich. But the practical in me says, yeah, they got to Brazil fast enough that they you know, didn't
They
get
eluded the law.
caught. Okay. Um, who are we on?
I finished, so.
I've lost
Okay.
I've lost track of who what
Okay,
we-
lost track.
Ariel?
I'm sorry?
Okay. This one's probably gonna be like a skew, a far skew, but I don't remember what season it was, but Sam had the friend who was like the doctor with the kid, and then like Dean killed them, or like he didn't kill them. I don't think he killed them, but he like killed the friend, and they had the kid.
Amy Pond.
That's
That's
it.
what
That's
I was.
it. I was like,
That's
give
on
me
my
a minute.
list.
It's coming to me.
She was a
Because the Doctor Who
mortician.
reference, yeah, Amy Pond. But and the kid like promised like vengeance or something, but like we never heard anything or saw anything, or like that wasn't, nothing was ever kind of like, and he would have been like, by the time the season ended, like they would have like kind of like along the same line of like loose, like, you know, with Jesse, like, you know, they would have been old enough that they would have been able to like come out of nowhere, but we just never heard anything from that again.
Yeah, because that's one of the episodes that I rewatched today. And so Dean kills Amy because Dean sucks sometimes.
That's it. Yeah, it was her. Yeah.
Yeah, he killed her, and then he turned around and saw the kid, and it was like, oh. He
Mhm.
said, "Don't go killing anyone." And the kid said, "The only one I'm killing is you."
Is you. Yeah.
And I was like, ooh. And then they had another character that came out of nowhere that wanted to seek vengeance on Dean. And I'm like, that could have easily been that character.
Cole.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
like several years later, there was a guy whose
Yeah.
mother had been murdered at the hands of, you know. So I'm like, why that kid was so ominous, and now, you know,
And
just
we never
forgot
heard
into
anything
time.
else. Yeah.
Okay. Carol?
Nope.
We see in the beginning Sam developing visions, powers. We actually see in one riveting episode, he actually has telekinesis, which is the one and only time we ever kind of see that happen. Now, in the beginning, we thought he had the visions and powers because he had the demon blood.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, at some point, Ruby tells him, you know, you didn't need to feather Dumbo, you knew how to fly all along. So that that was innate in him and not because of the demon blood. And then it just vanishes.
Just gone.
Maybe he transferred it to Adam and down in his cell in hell. Because he has all this time. It was like the rest of his time, we never see him have visions again. Never. But then reversely, at the end, we see him developing all this witchy stuff. And like part of, you know, and witchcraft is often presented that there's a lot of skill, you know, and you have to learn the spells and you have to learn the potions and you have to learn all of this stuff. And there's a lot to be taken in. I mean, look at Bobby. Bobby does a lot of spells and stuff like that. So technically, he does a lot of witchcraft. But Bobby does not have the innate power that Sam seems to, because that's why Rowena is like, aha, here's all my stuff because you can handle it, you know? And again, they just never like do anything with
Maybe
it.
it's like, so when I was really younger, I was really into writing poetry. And then at some point it switched over to short stories and then novels. So maybe like his powers got shifted into something else.
But they never say, you know, it's just powers, oh, they're gone.
It's just mentioned and
now
then
he's
just
getting witchy.
casually like, yeah.
There was just, and both of them had a lot of things that you could have done with it, you know, could have developed with it, or they could have struggled with it. And, you know, Dean wasn't thrilled with it, but maybe Dean would come to accept it. I mean, the richness of possibilities is sadly unexplored.
Okay.
Witch Sam is one of my favorite tropes.
Oh, I love
Or
Witch.
Sam
love-
Witch.
Sam is good.
Lola?
They all went through my whole list between me and all y'all. My list is done, so move on.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go for a couple more missing kids. The Baines twins, Max Bain and his sister Alicia. Max took advantage of the witch's power, even though Dean warned him it would be really using the power of the demon that the witch had made a deal with when Alicia was killed. And he reanimates her, and she doesn't remember she doesn't remember dying, and he isn't going to tell her, and they just disappear. So, you know, Dean probably would have been bound to hunt him down, but we still never hear about them at all. And then there is the shifter baby, Bobby John, that they killed the parents. What'd they do with the baby? Did they kill the baby? Did they find acceptable shifter parents to give him to?
Doesn't he get taken by the Campbells? The Campbells take him.
Yeah, but then what
I
happens
mean,
to
then
him
he
after that?
disappears
Yes.
from that
Yes.
point, absolutely.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think
No, the
last,
Campbells.
the Campbells took him and put him in their
Yeah.
little menagerie or whatever.
But
Okay.
the Campbells
Which,
died
who
later
knows?
on.
Maybe they all are in hell with Adam in the cage.
That's true.
That cage is like very elastic, metaphysically speaking.
Yes.
Well, that's awkward because Adam isn't even related to the Campbells. Oh, maybe they'll like him better if he's not related.
Back to you, Melissa.
This one's going to be unpopular and maybe a little controversial. The Chicago Monsters. It's not that I wanted to see more of them, but there's this whole like universe thing going on. Why don't Sam and Dean and the other hunters, why aren't they doing anything about it? Like it was just out of nowhere and it faded back to nowhere, and it's like it should have been a known thing. They should have woven it into the plot before we got to that episode, and they could have woven it right on out of the plot with just a couple of throwaway lines and a couple of different episodes, like, you know, so and so and so and so is going to go clean out the monsters in Chicago, or something, or even tied it into wasn't one of Lucifer's, was it Chicago, like one of Lucifer's, right? They could have done something with it, just a couple of throwaway lines, and they didn't. And that was, again, I hate sloppy writing.
Yeah, the number of things where, yes, they could have dealt with them in a couple of sentences is like, what? But then we also have a lot of these things that are coming along as the disjointed change in showrunners, which often meant a change in the writers,
Right.
and later writers not studying their material. You know, like in a soap opera, you have the Bible, which tells you all this stuff so that your storylines can have continuity, and you can have something happen 10 years after this, but it's all going to make sense because they have the Bible. Apparently, there was no, as far as I know, no supernatural Bible.
Or they didn't bother using it.
Maybe it burned up.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, they brought the Bible on.
They left
Struck by
it.
lightning.
They left it in the French mistake. It you know, it's living.
Makes sense. Okay.
Because there's so many instances where in the later seasons, you're like, wait a minute, that directly contradicts what we learned in season 4, you know, and that kind of thing. So,
well, and how many times have we said, was there a dartboard in the writer's room, or were they spinning a wheel of fortune? I mean, we talk about that on this this channel all the time, that they're just spitting out ideas and not really no follow through. And that's just,
my next thing will show us that too. But
Okay.
I think Ariel's next.
Yeah, no, I wanted to continue on that too, because that was, I think, the last thing on my list was the Chicago Monsters. Because again, I feel like kind of like we said, like there were a lot of these ideas I think they had, because for the longest time I feel like Supernatural always wanted to have a spin-off. Right. And so like all these episodes that we've seen throughout seasons, they had like those little like pockets like the Chicago Monsters or like the Steins or like, with Men of Letters and stuff like that, where I feel like they were trying to set up for that. And then because it never happened, it just kind of like, just poof
Imploded.
goes nowhere. And then we're left with all these threads and, like you said, things that could have been wrapped up in like a sentence or just an aside, but just aren't ever mentioned again. And that was the last one on my list was the Chicago Monsters with that, because I felt like they were trying to set that up for a spin-off to have like its own thing, but like we didn't really lead up to it, and it was just kind of like seated there, and then it didn't happen, so it just kind of like faded.
Okay.
They
Yep.
were trying to do a spin-off called Bloodlines. That was
That's it. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Carol?
So I'm going to be like you, where I have a quickie and then another one. The quickie is, remember at the very beginning, and they used to say Christo?
Yeah.
Oh, look, the eyes flash back. It's a demon. That disappeared.
That's true.
And then, but the other one is, again, with the B-Mall.
Mhm.
We all kind of had to take this, take it on faith about the B-Mall being there all this time, but just like leaving us the heck alone. They didn't care about what was happening in America until they did. Okay. But then what happened afterward? Like their whole cell here, except like for Catch, right, gets wiped out. So what happened to them, after that? Like, was no one left? I mean, because it didn't seem like they were the only cell of B-Mall in America. So
Right.
what happened to the rest of those? Did they all go sent back to England? Like what? You
got
made this whole big
deported.
thing, and we had this whole big kind of like James Bond scenario with it. Pluses and minuses. There were parts of the B-Mall I liked and parts I didn't, and Catch was great. But then it was just, okay, they're gone. Wipe off that whiteboard. Let's throw something else up there.
Well, it's the same with all the other theoretical chapters of the Men of Letters in the United States. We got to see the one with the tentacle monster, but theoretically, Sam and Dean should have been running into some of them at least a few other times.
At some or once.
Yeah, later on you could say, well, Amara wiped them out or something, but
Right.
early in the show, they should have crossed paths more. It was much more likely that they'd cross paths, and they never did.
And
Lola?
even if it,
Oh, go ahead.
even if it wasn't Sam and Dean crossing paths with them, they would have crossed paths with hunters. It would have been a known thing.
Like Bobby or somebody.
Like
Yeah.
Bobby absolutely would have known about them. And so plot device.
Okay. Lola?
I remembered one, but then I forgot it. So you can skip me.
Okay. Well, we have gone through our time, so I'm going to close us off with some missing magical items. There was the hand of God. There was, where was my list here? There was in the episode Last Call, where Sam gets shot with a magical bullet, and Cass brings in this really shady Russian witch, Sergei. Sergei tries to bargain to save Sam's life with an artifact he says is in the bunker, which is the key to Death's house. How come we never heard of that again? There was the Horn of Joshua, the Ark Fragment, the Rod of Aaron. They mentioned these extremely powerful artifacts. Then we never knew what happened to them. Why didn't they use them? Did they get destroyed? It's kind of that if you're going to put a hand of God, if a hand of God is hanging over the mantle in the first scene, you have to use it by the third scene.
That's the rule.
It is the rule.
Yeah, it really is the rule. So it would have been fun to incorporate some of those, even if they'd have at least made a passing thing for, Amara zapped all the power out of them. Okay.
I got it. Why? Okay, so we know Chuck is writing this whole thing, right?
Yes.
So he's treating it like a video game where they only have so much stuff in their arsenal at a time. So when they look at their arsenal, they're like, we've only got 5 things. So he took them out of his arsenal.
There you go.
And And that would have been a one-liner, and it could have encompassed all the problems.
I don't think they ever expected us, the
Probably.
fandom that has watched all 327 episodes over and
Multiple
over and
times.
over again. Yeah.
And that could have been true for the first 5 years, right?
Right.
Once you get to year 6, that fandom was rabid.
Yeah.
And I know the change of showrunners and all that, but they had to have continuity documents.
Mhm.
They had to. I still wish that we could get the showrunners at some of the creation cons. I would skip a J2 photo op to be able to talk to Kripke, like, to just listen to Kripke, and some of the, like Sarah and some of the other showrunners. I would really love them at a con to talk about this stuff, because we have so many questions.
Yeah. No, that would be fantastic. Well, folks, tonight we've blown through our time, so I do want to have a chance to let everybody go around and say where people can find you online. Melissa?
You can find Kitty and I on the Supernatural TFWNC Facebook group that you run, and Talking Supernatural here on Continual.
Okay. Carol?
You can find me.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
can't tell between Carol and Ariel.
I was gonna say, yeah, you can find me at www.ariel-dawn.com. You can also find me here on Continual. I pop up quite frequently. I'm also on Go Indie Now quite frequently, and pretty much everywhere you buy books. I'm everywhere.
Okay. Carol?
As Carol Stokes, I'm on Facebook, especially in the TFWNC group, the Continual group, and many, 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 many Continual panels. As Ellis Colton, all of my media links, including my newsletter sign up, are at elliscolton.com. And my latest book, The Malevolent Sea. Well, there's the guys who are in it.
You're
so
a dangling plot thread.
imagine what you will. The Malevolent Sea is now available on Amazon.
And it's great.
Yes, it is. Very good. Lola?
My name's Lola Lariscy. You can see part of the cover of my newer book, Soul Pushers. You can find me online, lolalariscy.com, Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that. This probably won't be out in time, but I'm going to be at an event on Saturday, August 16th at the University of North Florida. So if you're in Jacksonville and you see this in time, go find me. And you can, like we said, you can find me online, and just look for Lola Lariscy. You'll find me and a bunch of dead old ladies, and hopefully I'm not one of those before I write my 3rd book.
Oh yeah, I'll be at an event, but not on the 16th, but not the one Lola's at. I'm going north, and I'll be in Toronto at the Northern Rainbow Readers and Writers event, book sale and book signing in Toronto.
And I will be in Salem September 21st and 22nd for Getting Witchy with It.
Very cool.
And I'm pretty easy to find at gailzmartin.com, morganbryce.com. If you spell those right, you'll find me on all the major social medias. Certainly the Supernatural TFWNC group that I run. And at the end of August, I will be at DragonCon in Atlanta, Georgia. But most of the time, I'm here on Continual. So thank you all so much for being here. And thanks to all of you for watching and listening. There will be more Supernatural coming up soon. So we'll see you online.